This is probably the last video that you will see from me. Obviously, uh, May 15th was the last day of my student teaching. And that's before you guys are taking this test. But, I thought I would drop a little wisdom as a secret, not a secret, a final gift to you guys. Thanks to you guys who do watch these videos. You're only helping yourself by actually trying to pass these tests, right? I know a lot of the times school feels like it's just test after test. You're not really learning much. But there'll come a time where you're like, oh wait, I'm actually using stuff that I learned in high school. You might not see it now, but when the time comes. So, this problem right here that I have is what I believe was station, 2? It was about the fidget spinner factory. So, it was given this function a of x, which is 2x plus 9 over x, right? And the reason this is the function that we're given is because it's saying that for every x fidget spinner that we're buying, it costs $2 to produce that. So 2 times the amount of fidget spinners. And then this $9 that's added on after is that startup fee. We looked at this with like the jeans or like the t-shirt factory example when we actually did this type of problem. So this like startup fee is unavoidable, right? No matter how many fidget spinners we buy, we have to pay the $9, whether we pay for one fidget spinner where x is 1, right? Like you have to fill out some table as part of the station of just seeing like when I buy x amount of fidget spinners, the average cost per fidget spinner is whatever, right? So when this says what does a of 25 equals 2.36 mean, I'm going to write it in red, make the arrow red. When we buy 25 fidget spinners, I know it's not 2016 anymore, but I don't know, fidget spinners are still cool to me. When we buy 25 fidget spinners, the average cost of each spinner is $2.36. Right? Any output that we get from a of x is the cost. Any x value that we're changing is the amount of fidget spinners that we're purchasing. Like, this top part of our fraction is just the total cost of buying everything. So if I bought 25 fidget spinners, that's 2 times 25 plus 9, which is just 59. But it's not costing $59 per fidget spinner. That's being divided 25 ways. Where is my marker? 25 ways, so that technically we're only paying $2.36 per fidget spinner. Right? If you've ever been on Amazon, you'll see that under the cost, it'll say like $0.06 per unit. That's kind of the same thing we're doing here. Sometimes you might get a better deal when you're purchasing more. That doesn't mean you're spending less overall. We're still spending $59 for 25 fidget spinners, which is, that's kind of a bit of money. But either way, the individual cost of those spinners decreases when we're splitting this initial cost in more ways. So I know this is like a very specific scenario, but you're going to see examples like this on the test. It might not be about fidget spinners. It might be, it might be about clothes. It might be about buying shoes or something. I have no idea. I'm not the one making the test this time. But you're going to have to be able to interpret these values in a scenario. right? Like we always talk about, when will I need this? Well, there are scenarios where math is really important to understand. So I'm just going to erase this in red just so I have the space to do the second part. Oops, that's my x. But I was going to say something, but I forgot. So I'm just going to move on to this second part. When will the average cost be $2.05? Well, I know that x isn't my average cost, right? My x in my function is the number of fidget spinners that I'm buying. So it's not that I'm setting x to be $2.05. It's that I'm setting my a of x to be $2.05. Right? So I have $2.05 equals my function 2x plus 9 over x. Oops. But I don't know what x is. That's what it's asking me to find. So when it says that, like when it gives you your average cost, like it does here, we're looking for x. If it was saying, what is the average cost when I buy 50, 55 fidget spinners, that's where I plug in, right? You have to understand, like, when am I doing what? So when it's asking, like, when will the average cost be $2.05, it's asking how many fidget spinners do I have to produce for the average cost per spinner to be this $2.05. So in this case, I have to solve for x, right? And right now, I have a number equals a fraction. Anytime I have a fraction equals a number or a fraction equals a fraction, I want to do butterfly method. Because I'd say that's the easiest way. You could always get the denominators to be equal to the same thing. That works for any rational function, or any rational problem. But right now I've got 2.05 equals my fraction. But anytime I have a number like this, 2.05, whether it's that, whether it's 15, whether it's 0.01, if I want to have a fraction equals a fraction, I can always just put this to be over 1. I could have like 2x plus 5 equals like some fraction, and I can still put that over 1 so I can do my butterfly method easily. Anything divided by 1 is going to be itself, so it's not like I'm changing any values here. So, reminder on the butterfly method, which we've been working with for a little bit, I've got this 2x plus 9 times the 1, and I've got this 2.05 times the x. The reason we do this method is because it just gets rid of our fractions. So this 2.05 times the x would just be, quite literally, 2.05x. And that equals 2x plus 9 times 1, which anything times 1 is just itself. So that's not too bad, right? Sometimes you might have a denominator here where it's like 2. Then it would just be like 2 on the outside of parentheses of the numerator. But I will have another example of that later. I think I might just do another video just to kind of separate these two ideas a little more. But right now, I'm getting pretty close to getting x by itself. So I feel like a lot of us get stuck here, where we like, when we have an x on one side, we have x plus something on the other. What do I do now? Right? If I'm trying to solve for x, I want to get just like x on one side and then a number on the other. So in order to do that, I need all my x's together. So I'm going to move this 2x over, subtract 2x on both sides. Remember, you have to include that you're subtracting x, because the x doesn't go away, right? Like, because I'm doing the subtraction, it doesn't mean that the x is going away. I'm just worried about like the coefficients. So 2.05 minus 2, that's just 0.05x. Anytime we're adding or subtracting, it doesn't change whether this is x squared, it doesn't get rid of the x, it just it changes the number in front. So I get 0.05x, and I have that equals to 9. So we're getting pretty close. I just need it to be x equals a number, so in order to get rid of the 0.05 in front, I have to divide. Because 0.05, technically that's multiplying with the x. So in order to get rid of it, I have to do the opposite and divide by 0.05. So I get 9 divided by 0.05. I don't know what that is in my head, so I'm going to move to my calculator, do 9 divided by 0.05. It's 180. But 180 what, right? Like, what does it mean that x is 180? If I go back to look at my problem, it was talking about that x is the number of fidget spinners I have to buy. So if I was to answer this question, when will the average cost be $2.05? I would say, in order to make sure that I get full credit, because I don't know how they're gonna grade it, but I would make sure to be as explicit as possible. I wouldn't just say x equals 180. I would explain that when we buy 180 fidget spinners, that's a terrible I, the average cost per spinner, holy moly, cost per spinner would be $2.05. Which I know, it's math class. Why do I have to write a paragraph? Bro, it's a sentence. It's okay. You'll be fine. Aside from that, I think that's really all this problem was asking us, right? Like, we have to make sense of the scenario that it gives us, and we have to work with those values, right? Like, it's not just 180 pickles. It's not 180, I don't know, rubber bands. It's 180 fidget spinners that we're purchasing, which allows the average cost per spinner to be $2.05. We briefly talked about it during the class, but could I ever buy like a certain amount of fidget spinners and it costs like a penny per fidget spinner? The answer is no, because this function 2x plus 9, it has a horizontal asymptote at 2. Because like if I bought 1,000 fidget spinners, right? I do 2 over 1,000 plus 9 divided by 1,000. Open up my calculator again. I do 2 times 1. Nope, not 21. 2 times 1,000 plus 9 divided by 1,000. I get 2.009. That's like just above $2, right? I can make it 100 million. I can make it a 15 quintillion, and it'll never be equal to $2. It's always going to be at least. It's going to be more than that, right? It's never going to be a penny. It's never going to be $0 per fidget spinner. So like this idea that like my average cost will be like near my horizontal asymptote, it might not be too applicable to the test, but like understanding that is helpful, at least contextually. But yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys do well on the test. I really hope that we do some studying. And if you're watching this video, you're definitely doing some studying, so I appreciate that. Because there's only so much I can do. At the end of the day, it's up to you to make the difference.